Now we're starting the second part of the example lecture 6, called example 6.2. Let's take a look. We're going to build on the previous example. So here we say it's the same product line as the previous example. Now we're adding a new product type to introduce the system. However, the new product types needs a different pen station. We call this a new pen station, okay? With a processing time of normal distribution of average 49 minutes and standard deviation 7 minutes. So the existing pen station handle only the old parts. The new pen station handles the new part. And packing using for the packing station is still the same processing time. And the transfer time, which is your transportation times, are exactly the same before. Let's look at the illustration of of the workflow. Still the same thing. From staging area, we from the incoming goes to the workstation. The original part type followed the purple line, which goes to workstation, pen to pack, then exit. The new product line actually goes through the similar process, but follow the pink route. It's from staging to workstation to new pen to packing to exit. Okay, so here we're trying to see if how we can build this model. So this is fairly easy. I'm just going to take one of these and call it new pen. I'm going to make a time path, same thing like before. So this path and this path has a transfer time of random exponential with time with sorry. Mean of 2 minutes. All right. So it's 2 minutes on the average. And the processing time for this, I can change that. It's 49 minutes with 7 minutes of standard deviation. Okay. So that's all there is to it. And also we need to add another model entity called new parts. Call it new. And we slightly change the concept of the color, make it red. So the red ones represent the new parts, and the original one I'm using the green. Like homework 1, we need to, for example, the new part has to go through this way, and the old part has to go down here to the regular pane. And we need to using a link weight right here to determine which type of part it is, and then divert them differently. Today I'm going to show you a more formal method to determine this. We're using a so-called sequence table, which is the route sheet basically. So what we need to do is go to the data section and create a table and create a sequence table, for example. And the sequence table first is from the input of workstation, and we're going to call this table name, we'll call the sequence code. Okay, this table is going from input station to pen station, and then go to pack station, then goes to the shipping. Okay, and also I'm going to add a processing time for those each one of the workstation. We're going to add a processing time, and for that, so I'm going to add expression property right here and change to processing time. Okay, and also I'm going to specify is time based on minutes. Okay, so this processing time actually is in minutes. Okay, to show this a little bit, and here is random uniform between 21 to 25. Okay, and this one is random normal between 22 and with a standard deviation of 4. Packaging processing is random. Sorry, random, and that's a triangle between 20, 22, and 26. And of course, the processing time for the shipping is 0, so I'm going to let this go like that. Here I'm going to bring another sequence table for the new parts. So I'm going to call sequence new. All right. And the sequence we have, I'm going to add a little bit larger so you can see that. This is still from the workstation to new pen, and then to the packing, then to the shipping, and also adding a expression since it is a formula of random number generator. So I'm going to change this property into processing time as well. And again, change this to time, our minute base, a little bit larger so you can see what I'm typing. So basically what I do is I'm just going to copy all this over, changing the number. Okay. Changing the number. The first one is the same. The second one is 4927. And this one is 21 minutes, 23 minutes, and 26. So slightly different from one to the other. Okay. I just illustrate we can sequence. Also, in order to consolidate all these, I need a so-called consolidated table, and we add this table called regular data table called table parts. Okay, this table parts, we have a couple things, and the first one we call the entity type. Okay, entity either is old or entity is new. So this is what we call that. Sorry, and just do this real quick. We call it part type. This is what I just name it as a part type. You can call it model type or TV type, whatever it is. And also the second one is what I'm going to do is I'm going to adding the corresponding processing time for this table. So I'm going to adding expression and call it processing time. Alright, and again, it's supposed to be time, basically minutes. Okay, and however, this part, I'm going to use sequence O, the processing time. I'm using singular way of processing time right here to show you how it works, and this is going to be sequence, processing time. So I'm referring the processing time to the different sequence for different part type, and also I'm going to adding a third column that's called teacher. Okay, I'm going to make it mix, called product mix basically. So here is 70% of the part belongs to the old, and only 30% belongs to the new. So I'm going to start talking about this later on, how this is going to affect. And also, also the last one I'm going to add is a sequence table property. So I'm going to adding a sequence table property right here, choosing the old one. This is choosing the new one. So I'm referring different sequence right here. So I'm going to change the name a little bit. We call them part sequence. So you kind of understand what kind of part sequences it is. And after we set this up, and then we need to go back to change. When we have an enter or staging area, we need to referring what they coming up. So you notice that here the part entity type actually by default is going to the old part. So I'm going to say I'm going to base using table part and the part type I'm using. And also, since I'm referring to the entity, so I'm going to say table name. I'm going to choose for table parts as my reference, and which type of part, and this depends on table part, and mix, and using random row. So based on this mix information I have, and I'm using a random rows right here. And also on creation, after we create an entity, after I'm create an entity, I'm going to call this, go to the table, and based on the part sequence. So assigning the part sequence with whatever random row assigned it is. And for each one of the workstation right now, initially I have a specific part. Now only thing I have to do is just say table part and processing time. So I'm going to use across the board, so everybody follow his own route sheet for the processing time. Same thing here. Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to save this as temporary. Save as 6.2. Well, we see some arrows showing up here is a couldn't reference to the proper table. And this is a problem uh, easily identified because we didn't tell the parts going with it. So each one of the X and no for the process. And right now, for example, here, and the entity destination type is just continue, meaning going through the continue to follow the route based on the shortest path. Depends on which branch has the shortest distance, they're going to take that route. And also, it didn't follow exactly the sequence table. So therefore, we need to, for all the output nodes, since we're following sequences, so all the following we have to change to by sequence, even right before the start. And I'm going to try to get these done and by sequence. Okay, everything changed to by sequence instead of continue. Let's give it a try. Okay, so we see the green one coming over, and the green one is all part goes to regular pan. There's a 70% of chance this is happening, and 30% it will goes to the new pan. We'll see the red one coming up. This is a new part. It's supposed to go to the new pan and go out. So this concludes the second part of the lecture. Thank you very much.